expect you to pick up this instantly. There is something I want to tell you in person. I love you so much.
We pray that those who have gathered, that they are not alone in their sorrow. Tragic circumstances.
I'm pregnant.
Albany, a city where the hum of daily life masks the quiet devastation of an opioid crisis burrowing through its neighborhoods. In a modest home on its quieter side, Marissa Bennings, a veteran newspaper journalist and a woman who long ago learned to fold private grief into public work, wakes to a morning that already feels heavier than most. She moves through her routine with a mechanical calm. Coffee poured, work clothes chosen, professional face fixed in place, and drives to the newsroom without knowing that today is the day her world will crack open for good. At the office, she asks her colleague Barry for a document she needs for a piece she is chasing, and when he apologizes that it isn't ready yet, she thanks him and steps into a staff meeting she can't quite focus on. Something in the day feels off, though she can't name it. Then the door opens, and her older son Toby, a young officer on the Albany police force, walks quietly into the room with an expression that stops her mid-sentence. Marissa steps out of the meeting to meet him, and there, with tears rimming his eyes, Toby delivers the sentence no mother is ever ready to hear. Her younger son Michael has been found dead. Toby drives her to the morgue to identify the body, and when Marissa finally sees Michael on that cold slab, pale and still and impossibly young, no tear comes. Toby reaches for her one last time, but she pushes him away gently and walks out into the daylight alone. A short time later, family, friends, and half-strangers gather for Michael's funeral. Then Marissa's attention catches on a young woman standing off to the side of the mourners. This is Paige, Michael's girlfriend, the woman Marissa has quietly blamed for pulling her son deeper into the drug world that finally killed him. Fueled by a rage she has nowhere else to put, Marissa storms straight toward her. Marissa slaps her hard across the face. Then Paige finds her voice. She is pregnant. She is carrying Michael's baby. Not long after, the two women sit down together, awkwardly picking their way through the wreckage of that moment. Marissa apologizes, admitting she had no idea. Paige tells her that she and Michael were trying to build a clean life. They had even looked at a farmhouse in the countryside, planning to start over once they saved enough money. Marissa cannot understand how Michael, trapped in addiction, could ever afford such a dream. And that is when Paige tells her the ugly truth. Michael had been working with a local dealer named Ducky, and the money he'd been so proud of had come from a place his mother never would have allowed. That night, Paige goes home and tears through Michael's belongings for answers. Hidden inside a box, she finds a stash of heroin, proof that the man she loved had been in far deeper than she ever understood. The next morning, Marissa meets Toby to trade what little they know. He tells her the evidence points to a violent falling out between dealers, and that Michael had almost certainly been running with Ducky. He asks her gently not to let guilt eat her alive. Then he notices the cigarette in her hand. Marissa admits she tried to quit, but grief has walked her right back to the pack. Toby asks for a drag too. Two adults who should know better, comforting themselves with the same old poison. He promises her he'll find Ducky himself. Across the city, Paige is calling Ducky over and over, and Ducky is not picking up. Meanwhile, Marissa tries to return to work. Her editor gently reminds her that when her husband Frank died, she took months to steady herself and offers her the same grace now. Marissa refuses. Her boss tells her she is the best writer he has, but warns her that no story ever outran a mother's pain. That evening, she meets Toby at a bar, and over a few rounds of pool, they trade quiet promises about tracking Ducky down.
One ball at a time.
You're gonna be okay, Mom.
But before either of them can move, the danger comes for Paige. Late that night, a strange sound wakes her, and two masked men force their way into her home. Her heart hammering, she grabs Michael's hidden stash and slips out a window seconds before they can catch her. With nowhere else to go, she runs to Marissa's. By the time Toby drops Marissa off, Paige is asleep on the couch. When she wakes, she shows them what she carried out with her. A lethal batch of dirty heroin that has been leaving overdoses in its wake all across the city. Toby promises to take it to the station as evidence. Paige stays the night, and the two women sit in the strange silence of shared loss, both quietly aware that Michael is the only reason they are in the same room. The next morning, Paige admits she hasn't been feeling well and confesses she can't afford her doctor's appointments. Moved by something that might be guilt or might be a mother's instinct rising back to life, Marissa drives her to the clinic. Then she does not wait. She goes to a nearby bar and drowns herself in whiskey, listening to an old voicemail from Michael on repeat, her boy's voice telling his mom that he loves her. She sinks so far into the sound of that voicemail that she misses Paige's calls entirely. Stranded outside the clinic, Paige runs into Gina, Toby's wife, a warm and easy woman who offers her a ride home without a second thought. Left with no other option, Paige accepts. When Marissa finally stumbles home drunk, an argument flares between them, then softens when Marissa pulls out an old photo of Michael. Paige tells her quietly that Michael used to talk about his mother all the time, about how bright and full of life she was before Frank died. The two women sit together with the photos, remembering the woman Marissa used to be. Later that night, while Marissa sleeps off the drink, Paige begins her own quiet research into how Michael really died. The next day, they go shopping for the baby, but Paige can't stay in the moment. Her phone keeps lighting up, and finally a message comes through from a man named Jeremy, who says his grandfather witnessed Michael's murder. They rush to meet him, and Jeremy tells them what the old man remembers. Michael was running for his life, chased by a white van when the shot came. Paige is certain that Ducky is the only person alive who can confirm it. Later, Marissa and Paige attend a grief support group where a woman named Lori shares the story of losing her own daughter to addiction. Afterward, Paige walks home alone, still trying to reach Ducky by text. Marissa offers Lori a ride. During the drive, she asks, half journalist and half mother, if Lori will let her interview her. Lori declines. Sharing pain in a support group, she says, does not mean putting it in a newspaper. But Lori does take her somewhere else. A supervised injection site, a place her daughter might still be alive, to see if she had known such a place existed.
You should come check it out. You really need to see it for what it is.
And there, in that crowd of the barely surviving, Marissa spots him, Ducky. The moment he recognizes her, he runs. Marissa chases him through an abandoned truck yard, fury outrunning fear, until he wheels around and pins her to the ground. He demands to know why she is hunting him. She accuses him of killing her son. Ducky recoils. Michael, he says, was his best friend. He had been trying to protect him from bigger, meaner players in the trade. Then he gives her the piece that changes everything. The man who actually pulled the trigger drives a white van and carries a distinct tattoo on his hand. Out of something like pity, he lets her go. Meanwhile, Paige stops by Gina's house looking for company and finds no one home. When Toby pulls up, he invites her inside to wait. A short while later, Marissa arrives at Toby's, bruised from the truck yard, and tells him what Ducky said. He scolds her for being reckless. She barely hears him.
I'm gonna go out and look for him. You can't go out far.
You sure it was him?
He said it was a guy with a tattoo on his hand.
Then Paige's phone lights up again. Jeremy has one more detail, and it sends her to an abandoned house. What she finds there is not Ducky ready to talk. It is Ducky's body, lifeless and cold, killed in a scene the police will later argue over. Terrified, she scrolls through his phone and finds a number he dialed again and again, and she rushes with it to the only person she thinks she can trust.
Hey, sorry, I was downstairs.
Because I went to their old house and I found him.
Have a drink, take a few deep breaths. Why didn't you call 911?
Toby steps out of the room to make a call. Alone, Paige dials that frequent number and hears a phone ringing somewhere beneath her feet. She follows the sound down into Toby's basement, and there she finds the burner phone that had been in conversation with Ducky all along. And then she hears Toby behind her.
Just give me the phone.
The truth clicks into place too fast. Toby was in Michael's world all along. He begs her to calm down, but she runs. They struggle on the narrow steps. Paige falls backward, all the way down, and lies still at the bottom, badly hurt. Toby panics, and in that panic, he does the unthinkable. He stages a scene that looks like an overdose, using the lethal batch of dirty heroin that had already been killing people all over the city.
Toby.
She's using again and she overdosed. In the hospital right now.
By the time Marissa reaches the hospital, it is too late. Doctors manage to save the baby. They cannot save Paige. Toby weeps and swears it was an overdose, the exact same drug that took his brother. Marissa nods, but something inside her, the journalist she has been for decades, does not believe a word. Days later, Gina finds blood on the basement steps and a necklace she recognizes as Paige's. Too afraid to face her husband, she brings the evidence to Marissa and begs her to look.
Marissa, I found it under the stairs. I thought it was some kind of miracle, but then I saw the blood. I've been trying to think of every possible reason.
Have you asked them about it?
No, I can't find the words.
So what are you gonna do?
I don't know if I could do it anyways.
I know. I feel guilty too. It was Doug.
The next day, Toby stops by the house to collect what is left of the stash, and Marissa presses him carefully about Paige. He sticks to his story and tells her, with all the calm of a man who has practiced, that maybe she should see a doctor. The moment he leaves, she follows him. She tracks him to a train station and boards behind him. And there, in the anonymous middle of a passenger car, she watches her son slide a suitcase across to a man whose hand carries a distinct tattoo, the exact detail Ducky died trying to give her. When the stranger walks away, Marissa quietly slides into the seat beside her son.
Perfect game.
That was just in luck.
Toby cracks. On the moving train, he confesses everything. He never wanted any of this. Michael needed money. Toby, the responsible one, the older brother, told himself he was managing it. Instead, he had led Michael into a corner he could not pull him back out of, and he had led Paige to the same corner without ever meaning to. Marissa listens without a single interruption, her face a landscape of sorrow and terrible understanding. What is a mother supposed to do when the man who ruined her family is her only surviving son? That night, she goes to a bar, and in a small, quiet act of self-command, she orders a glass of water instead of a drink. She opens her laptop and she writes. She writes about Michael's addiction. She writes about Toby's corruption. She writes about Paige's murder. She writes about a broken system that let it all happen. The pen has always been her weapon. Now it is also her verdict.
He was the one we didn't have to worry about. That might be the only thing I still recognize.
When it is finished, she carries the article to her editor. He reads it in a silence so heavy the room seems to shrink around them. Then he hands it back and tells her to take a week before she decides. Days later, Gina and Toby come to the house to pick up the baby, the last living piece of Michael she has left. Marissa lifts the child into their arms, torn between the love of a grandmother and the disgust of a mother watching a killer walk out her front door. When they are gone, she sees the draft of her article sitting on the table, and next to it, a pack of cigarettes and a book of matches. She strikes one. The flame catches, small and steady, dancing against her eyes and against the paper that could end her only remaining son. The film leaves her there, with the match burning, the choice still hers, to burn the truth and keep the last of her family, or to let the fire take Toby and everything he tried to bury. Some choices a mother should never be asked to make, and some, once made, follow her home for the rest of her life.